Right, government is receiving backlash for its plans to assist Cuba in its time of need. South Africa is committed to allocating 50 million rand Cubans who've experienced food security challenges due to U.S. sanctions. Over 50 hunger relief organizations and more than 16,000 signatories from across the country handed a petition to the Department of International Relations officers in Tshwane calling for this donation to be stopped. They say there are millions of South Africans who are starving locally and nothing is being done to help them. The groups are of the view that these funds could be put to better use right here at home. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations, Supra Mahumapelo, joins us now to discuss the matter further. Thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. Firstly, your reaction to this petition that's been signed. I mean, I'm sure you understand why these organizations and signatories are saying we have our own problems here in South Africa and nothing is being done there.
Thank you, my sister, and good afternoon to the viewers of eNCA. Well, the people must understand that, and we appreciate that we are in a democracy, so people can raise whatever issues that they want to raise. It's important for South Africans to understand that as Parliament, we hold the executive accountable, and in as far as this matter of Cuba is concerned, and the donation, we have met with the department and raised the matters that relate to the reasons why there has been such a donation to Cuba. And the response we have received from the department is satisfactory to us. And the context we got from the department includes, among other things, that Cuba played a pivotal political role when South Africa was in a struggle against apartheid and colonialism. We can mention here, for instance, the Battle of Quito Carnaval, where the Cubans, on their own, without complaining that their own people are poor and that they face sanctions, they volunteered their services to help South Africa. So we must be thankful as South Africans that Cubans on their own volunteered their services for our own liberation. The second point, which the department explained to us and we have understood it and support it, is the fact that there has been sanctions imposed by the U.S. on Cuba without the approval of the United Nations Security Council. This was a unilateral decision by the U.S. and is imposing hardship on the people of Cuba. So South Africa, as a country that is doing necessary reciprocation, had to make sure that somehow we make our small contribution to Cuba. Secondly, former President Nelson Mandela signed an agreement with the Cubans in May 1994, where the agreement, among other things, was about trade between South Africa and Cuba, and also that South Africa and Cuba will always reciprocate towards one another, going forward on various fields of economy, of education, of cultural exchange, and so on and so forth.
I've read a report that says that the hunger in Cuba has stabilized at 2.5% since 2002, whereas in South Africa, we're in 60th on the index with a score of 12.9%. So, people are saying that why doesn't government, redirect? I know that the International Relations Department has its own mandate, but, a lot of people and these organizations are saying that we have hunger problems here at home, poverty problems here at home, whereas in Cuba, some things have stabilized while our situation is getting worse.
We understand the matter that has been raised by some of the South Africans. But there are government programs which we have been briefed about as Parliament, which government is embarking upon. And we are satisfied moderately with the programs that are there. For instance, over 18 million South Africans are under the social grant system in the country, and that is financed by government. And I want to reiterate, it doesn't mean that because the Cubans are working very hard to make sure that they stabilize the matter of poverty in their country, it doesn't mean that they are not facing the hardships. Because it's not only poverty that is facing the People's Republic of Cuba. We must also make sure as South Africa, as part of our international relations and solidarity, to make sure that we continue to support countries like Cuba, which have been suffocated by countries like the US. And it doesn't mean, and I hope South Africans can understand, that we can't isolate ourselves from the world, that when our friends who helped us when we were in dire need during the struggle now face difficulties, we can make a contribution. So that stabilization has to be sustained. It has to be strengthened of the poverty situation that is going down in Cuba. Is also because of our contribution that it seems to be stabilizing and the graph pointing down. So South Africans have to understand that we are part of a family at the global level, and we must make our own contribution. We will, as the portfolio committee, when we think that the situation in South Africa is such that South Africa can no longer afford to make a contribution to countries like Cuba and other countries in the Caribbean. Remember, we've got South-to-South relations agreements and so on. We will not keep quiet as the portfolio committee if we think this is done extraordinarily at the expense of South Africans.
All right. So has the portfolio committee discussed with the International Relations Department then on how much money is going to be used to rescue South Africans from Ukraine?
Well, this afternoon we are going to have our own study group at 6 o'clock. And I must say that I'm happy with the report we have been getting from both the department and our ambassador Grunewald in Ukraine about the difficulties some of the South Africans, which include the students, particularly those who are trying to get out of Ukraine to go to Poland, the difficulty that they are facing, discrimination based on race, on sex, and so on. We hope that the South African government will, as part of the effort to normalize the situation to get back to peace, they will raise this matter with Ukraine. Because war cannot be a justification to then discriminate people based on their color, based on their sex. So we hope that when we meet with the department on Wednesday, we shall get a guarantee that indeed this matter has been raised with the government of Ukraine and is going to be attended to. I mean, we get shocking reports of women being discriminated against, of young people being treated badly by Ukrainian soldiers. And we hope that the focus can shift towards the stabilization of the situation in Ukraine instead of now discriminating against people. Nigerians, they are facing problems. South Africans are facing problems. The Indians are facing problems in Ukraine. And we hope that the government of Ukraine can speak to their soldiers to make sure that people get a safe passage when they are to leave Ukraine for safety into other countries like Poland.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Supra Mahumapelo, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations.